What is going on, guys? This is Walk Talk Football, the show where we talk about everything that's on your mind. Today we're talking Premier League, we're talking Champions League, we're talking La Liga, we're talking transfers, so let's walk. All right, guys, it's been a while. We're back. It's freezing cold outside, but we like making this one so much, we're going to keep bringing it to you, even in the dead of winter right now. That's real snow on the ground that you guys are seeing in the background, so enjoy it and all this stuff coming out of my mouth, I guess. Hopefully. Yeah. Anyways, let's do this. All right, let's go. Do you consider Rafa Benitez a top coach in the Premier League, or is he just a big name that has past success? Well, look, let me give you his stats first, okay? He won the Europa League twice. Well, he won Europa League once, he won UEFA Cup once, he won Champions League once. He promoted 2 teams early in his career. He won La Liga twice and a bunch of other things. He won a bunch of other shit as well. So, first of all, he is a big manager because of that. The next thing is that he took a team that went down to the championship and he brought them back up. And that's why I respect him, whether he's a big Premier League manager or not. They're mid-table now. I think they'll stay in the league. But he went down to the championship with Newcastle and he brought them back up, which is an extremely hard thing to do. And somebody like him, who's probably made a ton of money, doesn't need the money, who's won plenty of trophies, doesn't need the trophies, but he actually took a challenge, and that's something that I think you'll never see Jose Mourinho do. Okay, he did it with Porto early on in his career, but you'll never see Pep Guardiola do. These are the guys that I think only, you see Jose Mourinho now complaining about needing more money when he spent almost the most amount of money in Europe behind Manchester City, and a guy like Rafa Benitez took the challenge. They're doing all right, and I find that pretty cool. So I think he is a big manager, not just in the Premier League, but in world football still. £75 million for Virgil van Dijk is a lot, but let's wait until the summer or the end of the year to see if he's worth it. Yeah, I agree. Look, I think Van Dijk is more expensive than he would have been because of the mistakes that Liverpool made the last transfer windows about tapping up on him. But I think this is a good sign for Liverpool. They spent the money that they needed to, and a lot like Arsenal, sometimes they don't go for those big signings to try to keep pace, and they try to find other ways of getting good quality players. But in this case, they got Virgil van Dijk, and he is what they're missing. He's a leader in the back line. That back line will be his. He will own it in a sense in terms of his leadership, in terms of how you move the lines will be all on his sort of cadence. So I think it's the right thing, it's the right signing, but it did cost a lot of money, but I don't think you should judge any of it based on that because, again, it's market value. They could have gotten for a little bit cheaper, which would have been right around where I think what they paid for John Stones. But anyways, good signing in my opinion. We will judge him, though, ultimately, based on how he performs. After all this Nike stuff and Coutinho asking to leave last summer, why the hell would Liverpool let Coutinho go in January? Because he's worth a lot of money. And if his mind is focused somewhere else, you need to make that move. For Coutinho, I like this move. I think it's a smart move. I think it's a dumb move. Okay, Liverpool don't necessarily have a lot to gain. They could probably get the same amount for him in the summer after the World Cup or whatever if he has a good World Cup. Or they could not get anything based on maybe he gets injured, maybe you have some sort of long-term issue. So cash in now, you might be able to get the right players in long-term. But for Coutinho, he's stepping into a Barcelona team that he's going to win a La Liga trophy. Which is a major, major trophy, obviously. And he's going to one of the biggest clubs in the world. And for ambition-wise, it makes total sense why he wants to go there. So I get it on every level. Again, I'm sure Liverpool fans are pissed off about it, but the business is what the business is. And that's just, sometimes it's vicious like that. Thoughts on Nike's supposed leak of Coutinho's Barca move? I don't know if it was Nike or if it was Barcelona, but it's kind of all messed up right now. I read that it was perhaps hackers, but now I've also read that it was done in 4 languages and then very much in the tone of the way Nike writes their copy. So either way, someone's going to get in trouble for it. I'm not sure if it's going to have any effect on the move or anything like that, but someone's definitely going to get in trouble for this process. All right, what else do we have here? Are FC Bayern capable of archiving a treble? Achieving a treble in the season due to the fact that, that's not me, by the way. You corrected me, but I'm reading what I see here. I can read. Are FC Bayern capable of achieving a treble in the season due to the fact that Henkes is managing them again? I mean, he's got them in great form, that's for sure. But they also had Ancelotti, who's more than capable of winning a Champions League. They had Pep Guardiola, who's more than capable of winning a treble. All these guys could have won a treble, so I think Henkes knows the club in and out. He's not a new manager. Nothing at Bayern is new to him. But look, for him to write the course for them to win the league and kind of gap it out, he's done that. Okay, they're going to win the league. But to win the Champions League is a whole nother thing. To win the treble is an even more difficult task. So I don't think Henkes is the guy. necessarily that's going to change all that. I think they very well could. They're good enough to win the treble, but I don't know if Henkes will be the one that should get the credit if they do end up winning it. It's a World Cup year for men, but World Cup qualifying year for the women. Do you think the U.S. women's national team will qualify, and who else do you think or hope will? Yes, the women will. They will continue being the best team in the world because they're extremely good. They're better than everyone. They're fun to watch. They're entertaining. If you haven't watched the game, make sure you watch one. But the other teams that we won, you won Japan, you won Germany, you won France, you won Sweden. You won the big teams because they're the most entertaining. They play the best football. They have the best style of play. And honestly, I want to see the women in a final playing against another really, really top team and not have a blowout. So because competition is fun to watch sometimes as long as it's entertaining. With Jesse Lingard in superb form at the moment, it's become apparent to me that a lot of teams have their unsung heroes that consistently do well, but are overlooked because they're not world class. What players come to mind when you think unsung hero? These are tweets that are obviously part of the new Twitter world because you get to ask them in a much, much longer, no, we want to go this way? We can curve up around this corner. Yeah. Oh, you don't do this anymore, huh? Thanks, bud. Thanks for the commitment. Hey guys, this is Pat. He's back on the run with us again. Matching jackets. It's just what we do. It's just what we do. New year, new thing. Anyways, unsung heroes that come to mind. Moussa Dembele at Tottenham, I think is a guy that extremely good. Doesn't always get the credit that he deserves. And then when you look back at when you look at the real unsung heroes, you look at the year like Leicester had when they won the Premier League. You had guys like Danny Drinkwater. Okay, he's at Chelsea now, so he is not an unsung hero anymore, but he was then. Albright, and these types of guys that really, really put in a shift. Don't get the love when everything else is going well. The big name players, the big stats guys get all the love. Yeah, that's my opinion on that anyway. What does Real Madrid need to do to find themselves back in top 2 in the Liga? How can they get in form for these important Champions League games? Ronaldo. Ronaldo is the guy. He is the guy that makes it tick. If he is in top form, you'll see Isco playing better. Oh, there's a dead bird on there. That's sad. You'll see all these guys in top form. Of course, Pat has to go back and check it out. All these guys in top form will continue when their big leader, they're considered the best player in the world this year, Ronaldo finds his form again. So I think it's all on him. Yeah, you can say it's a lot of pressure to put on somebody's shoulders, but that's what you get when you're the best player in the world. When you're in top form, you will lift the level of everybody around you, and everything will get better. Benfica, Sporting approaching. What do I think of the title race? Well, all 3 of those teams at the top of the table, Porto, Sporting, and Benfica, are all on 3 draws. There's only 1 loss between the 3 of them. 2 teams are undefeated right now. Porto's on top of the table. Either way, with the upcoming game against Sporting and Benfica, how would this work then? Either way, Porto wins at the end of it all, because if Benfica wins, if Benfica or Sporting win or draw or tie or whatever, Porto ultimately wins, because either they're going to be 6 points in front of the table, 3 points in front of the table. They'll either be 3 points or they'll be 6 points from third. So I'm assuming that Porto wins, but I love the title race. The fact that it's all so tight right now with the 3 big teams, it's fun to watch. I'm looking forward to that. Guys, that game is tomorrow, so make sure you check it out. Next up, when will the Superliga return, and will MLS teams ever be invited to Copa Libertadores? Copa Lib, the hardest thing is always going to be travel and then matching up the schedules. Sometimes you see even Copa Lib, the way that their South American schedules match up, you have teams playing through into next season, just like we do with Champions League, and that can be complicated when you have players moving, not knowing, not being able to have that same team from start to finish in the tournament can be difficult at times. And then for the Superliga, I think you won't see that be taken seriously by MLS teams or any other teams until there's enough money involved for teams to be able to charter planes, teams to be able to earn good bonuses if they're going to win, because all that extra travel ultimately hurts their domestic campaign. It's going to affect them. It's not going to be worth their while. They're going to end up playing a lot of reserve players and things like that. All right, next up. Score predictions between Chelsea and Arsenal. Who's bigger threat, Hazard and Morata or Sanchez and Lacazette? Score prediction is 2-1 Arsenal, only because I'm an Arsenal fan. I have trouble saying anything otherwise, but I'm saying 2-1 Arsenal. But I think the bigger threat is Morata and Hazard, 15 goals between them. Hazard hasn't put up the assist that I would have expected him to at this point in the season. But I like Lacazette. I just think Lacazette needs to find his form, and I don't think he should get too attached to what's his name? Who's the other guy? Alexis Sanchez. Jeez Louise. I think he shouldn't get too attached to him because I think he's going to be leaving. So, well, I think I like Lacazette, and Lacazette's in the top 10 in scoring right now, and Sanchez is as well. He's a top player. And I do think they're a better combination. In theory, Lacazette hasn't really found his form within the team and found how he can really be a threat on the level that I think Morata is. One chance, one goal type of guy. All right, next one. You guys might hate me for that answer, but that's what I think anyway. Talk about Sanchez and Ozil contracts again. I have no idea what's going to happen to them. They're probably going to leave, probably sign for double the money somewhere else, and that's just the way it's going to be. I don't know what else to say. Thoughts on Cibao FC versus Guadalajara in the CONCACAF Champions League? First ever Dominican soccer team, David versus Goliath. I think it's amazing. I don't know much about Cibao, other than that they were runners-up in 2016, I guess, in the Dominican League. But I'm excited to see them challenge themselves for the Champions League. I'd love to see more and more teams from the islands, from the Caribbean, from all this stuff within all the countries within CONCACAF starting to contribute more. We'll just go straight. All the teams in CONCACAF starting to contribute more and have more competition because it's only going to make all the teams, all the clubs, all the national teams within this region better, you know. So I'd love to see what happens. I mean, they're playing against Guadalajara. It's going to be a very difficult match. It could be a blowout, but you never know. They could pull off something magical or special. As an Arsenal fan, what emotions did you go through in yesterday's game? I feel nothing as an Arsenal fan at the moment, so I have no emotion. I actually feel, the only thing I feel right now are that my fingers are burning because it's so cold out here. But you know, guys, I could have worn thick gloves, but instead I wore these little ones that I can scroll and talk to you guys and read all the questions and stuff, so you're welcome, internet. Does anybody say internet anymore? Like, I was on the internet yesterday? Oh, Pat does. Pat's from Vermont, so. I have to be the first person to ask this in 2018. Wenger in. This guy wrote Wagner in, Wagner out. It's Wenger, and he has it backwards. Anyways, he's going to leave when he wants to leave, and there's going to be huge changes at Arsenal. They're probably going to lose a lot of their identity, same way that they did at Manchester United when Sir Alex Ferguson left, and then they bounced back now, and probably have the same thing with Arsenal for a bit. But when he leaves, it's going to be on his terms. How far do you think Roma will go in the Champions League? Shakhtar Donetsk, round of 16. Definitely a winnable tie, but Shakhtar are always good in Europe. But they could go far. I mean, I think they're third or fourth right now in Italy, but they haven't won in their last 3 games. But for Champions League, they've actually impressed me. I didn't think that they would actually get out of their group, but they have. They've done well. So it's tough to say, you know, a club like Roma, they're a big club, but when you look at the biggest clubs in the world, they're not necessarily at that tier. So I think they could probably get through this round, and you know, depending on who they get in the next round, they could potentially go to a semifinal. Why not? And then from there, I mean, that's kind of how it goes. You can say that about any team right now. If they made it to the round of 16, they're good enough to be there, and then time will tell how far they can go, I guess. Maybe not. Can Manchester City be the first team to complete a quadruple? Yeah, I mean, they're the best team I've seen in a long time, so they certainly could. It just depends. They're going to start putting all their focus into the league. They wrap up the league early on, then they can put that focus back into only the Champions League and then their cup ties, so they could certainly do it. Can Manchester United win any trophies this year? They had 3 major trophies last year, but do you think that the team will win any trophies this season? First of all, we have to define what major trophies are, because the League Cup and Community Shield are not major trophies. They're just not. I mean, Europa League is also a major trophy, but it puts you as the 17th best team in the world. It's a huge trophy. It's a very don't misunderstand me. The Europa League is a very hard trophy to win. It is a major trophy in the sense of the word, but the Community Shield is not a major trophy. Sometimes they don't even play their starters for those games. The League Cup is not a major trophy when you look at major trophies, because if everything, then you kind of have to call every trophy major. In that case, then yeah, I think they are capable of winning major trophies, but right now they're not going to win the league. They could win the Champions League, and then I'm not really sure what League Cups they're still in, but I mean, certainly they can win a trophy this year, and I think a trophy is hard enough, and it should be considered a major thing. But using the word major before trophy kind of devalues it. If all of them are major, then just call them trophies. Does that make sense? Answer me at some point in the comments. Let me know. All right, guys, time for my favorite part of the show. Dress you haters. Heath is slowly turning into Dr. Disrespect. I think that's a gamer guy from the internet. He has a sick mustache. I looked him up yesterday, didn't know, but then I saw that a bunch of people that I know that are gamers are following him, so I guess I should follow him too, because I'm kind of a gamer myself. I'm a poser. I'm a wannabe gamer. Maybe I deserve to have all these haters. Hi, dog. Next one. Cannot believe this is, with regard to me doing the drunk football, drunk soccer, can't believe that this is associated with COPA90. What is wrong with you? Just had a good time, good conversation with Jay. I thought it was a good concept to try. We at COPA90 always try to bring you guys new content, new styles. If you guys like it, great. If you didn't, let us know. But hopefully you guys liked it. We can bring you guys some more different styles of soccer content. This guy looks like the young version of Yanni the pianist. That's actually funny because our producer put the actual photo in here. I don't know if it'll focus on it, but that's really, it's actually really funny. The guy's really handsome. I think I've seen him before, not in real life, but in photos. But I'm glad that he put a photo there for a reference. Heath's left eye is so lazy, it should be on welfare. It's so disrespectful to people on welfare as a joke, but also to me. But also kind of funny because it kind of it paints a very visual picture. And I'm sure one of my eyes is lazy. I don't know, sometimes. I think I blink with one eye sometimes though. But maybe it is a little bit lazy. Damn, dude, that cuts right to the core, especially on a cold day like today. No one is gonna point out that Heath looks like Vlad the Impaler. What's that from? Is it?
No. The original Dracula. It's a history lesson.
Oh, okay, it's a history.
Impaler is the legend behind Dracula. He was a Romanian lord that fought the Ottoman invaders.
Did he really?
Put them on pikes.
Oh, wow, that's intense. Well, I don't know what he looks like, but I'll take it. Sounds kind of like yeah, anyways. All right, guys, so that's all we have for today's episode, but get down in the comments and let me know what you think. Am I crazy for thinking that Hazard and Morata are better than Lacazette and Alexis, or am I crazy for anything else that I thought? But let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing, and we'll see you guys next time.